Hi, welcome back everyone. I thought I'd come outside where it was quiet to talk a little bit, and had just turned on the air conditioner, so I already turned the thermostat back down hoping it would go off soon. Thought I might come out where there's some pretty flowers in the background, but where I'm sitting I guess you can't really see them. So I've been doing some canning. I think you've seen some relish come out, some zucchini relish, and I've got to switch gears on zucchini because I got to do some dill zucchini, maybe some zucchini salsa, maybe freeze some for bread because it's getting a little too many jars of sweet and spicy, sweet and savory, summer sweet and spicier zucchini relish. I started dabbling a little bit yesterday in ferments, so I did a 2-quart jar of fermented cucumbers just with salt, dill, water, and pickling spice. I follow the YouTube channel Homesteading with the Zimmermans, and so she's taught me some things, and I watched her also do beet kvass, so I'm trying a quart of beet kvass with my golden beets. I don't have any purple beets this year. We harvested our first sweet corn, and we got 7 or 8 quart bags of that. Gave some away, and we have more to pick. We probably picked, I don't know, not even a quarter of what we have. We still have tons and tons of kale. I've been drying that for the dogs. I hear Rough Greens always advertised on the radio or podcasts, so I thought I'd make my own. And we stick that on their chicken when they have their chicken that we feed them, and they are eating it. So what else? Zucchini and cucumbers, that's the big thing right now. I do need to dig potatoes. We've picked peas and green beans. I'm letting most of the green beans go to seed at this point, but just picking the ones that still come fresh and are tender. They're still doing a little bit of flowering. What else? Cauliflower and broccoli are not doing anything yet, not forming anything. I had to rescue them out of a huge weed patch, and I transplanted them somewhere else in the garden. They look great, but they're just not putting on any edible vegetable yet. The eggplants are looking good. They are starting to flower a little bit now. One group sooner than the other, and we're waiting and waiting and waiting very impatiently for the tomatoes to become ripe. I've picked a few cherry tomatoes, some yellow pear tomatoes, and one regular size yellow tomato. Other than that, only one other one has a little bit of color. So there's some beautiful big heirloom ones. We're just can't wait to eat those. And for the most part, melons. We have some really nice looking cantaloupe, 2 big ones. They're not ready yet, and a lot of little watermelons. I have not even ventured to look inside the squash patch as far as winter squash. And I've been trying to use up some of the old winter squash I have from last year. Again, the lady on Homesteading with the Zimmermans, she showed how she cans her puree, but I'll probably have to freeze mine of squash puree because I do not have a pressure canner right now. I really only have a steam canner. So that's the garden update. Maybe I'll give you a little flower update. I was gifted a little bucket of Jack's all-purpose plant fertilizer, and it really works well. There's a lady up in Rowlett, North Dakota, and she is called Hidden Treasures, I believe. She has a greenhouse. They have to haul their water for their greenhouse, so you can get some good deals towards the end of June because they get tired of hauling water for their greenhouse. But her plants are large and lush and beautiful, and that's where this fertilizer was. So here you go. So these are hibiscus. I take those off clearance whenever I can get them. Let me stand up here. This is Wandering Jew that my neighbor gave me, and some sweet potato vines, so it's just going through there. More hibiscus, just gorgeous. Makes me get ready to think about my trip to Hawaii this winter with my sister Karen. Hi, Karen. Hope you're watching. So, more Wandering Jew. I stuffed a piece of euphorbia in there because it broke off, and they're amazing. They just root right down. I do save the flowers off the hibiscus for my tea. And more, there's sweet potato vine here. Up here we have sweet potato vine, some volunteer parsnips because this container was over near where I had parsnips go to seed. These little plants were about 85 cents a piece, these two petunias. They looked pretty rough when I picked them up out of runnings toward the end of their season clearance, but they're doing great now, and I love that euphorbia. So I hope these parsnips are edible. Here we have a under $1 verbena that now looks beautiful, and it was pretty rough when it came home also. I don't know what this is in the back. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments section. Some more hibiscus and Wandering Jew and potato vine, sweet potato vine. Up here we have pansies, which I usually buy in the beginning of the season. There's a little pale yellow one around the corner. This pink petunia I got on discount, I think, at Menards. Maybe the pot was $2.73 and I split it into 3 different plants. More verbena, under $1, and euphorbia in the back. So here we have, this was probably a midsummer purchase. I think they're dwarf snapdragons. They're not really blooming right now. There's a white one over here. I just trimmed them a little bit. Some petunia and geranium. Just lush. I've only fed them once this year. There was a dandelion in this one, but we have this nice red petunia. And there's a hibiscus in the middle of this one, some snapdragon on the back and on the side. And this is a mandeville, or mandevilla, I'm not sure how to say it, in the middle. And all these type of zinnia. I was gone for 5 days fishing, and these guys looked wilted and terrible, but just perked up beautifully with water. And the day after, probably the day I watered, it rained for 2 days. So this is another mandevilla. Okay. Last but not least, we have 2 puppies. They liked it out here on the hot sun. And this is marigold. I wish it filled out more. Marigold and some snapdragon. I always like to put a pot together that's golds and oranges and maroons. And as the sign says, yes. So the rest of this morning I went over to my neighbor Harriet's and raided her raspberry patch, not for berries but for leaves, so I can dry them for tea, and they're in the dehydrator. I also got just 3 or 4 grape leaves from her. I like to put them over my fermented pickles to hold it down so everything's down under the brine. So that's the garden and homestead activity update. We like to have fish fries about once a week around here, and tonight we're actually going to finally have it down at the lodge and invite one of the new construction guys that's here for a few weeks in his camper, our other seasonal camper, our, how would you say, temporary tenter. And there's an older guy that's a friend of my neighbor Harriet's, and he's almost 95, and his son's here visiting from Wyoming, and so they're gonna come as well. And just another fishing guy we met on the bridge that lives locally. He's gonna share some kind of a creamed potato recipe that he likes to make. So he's always telling us how he makes his fish, and we swap trial fishing, what's the right word, fish recipes. So I guess I'll close it here. Was inspired today to do a little video by YouTuber I watch. His name is John in Alaska. He doesn't edit anything. He just hits the camera and goes. So He's kind of cool guy. I like watching him.